This is Sybert signing into Kane's Wrath on the map Twilight City for Game 1 of this multi-game, I guess you could call it series. It's almost more like practice games, but this, in the top right-hand corner, is as the yellow Reaper 17 Masterleaf. And in the bottom left-hand corner, as the red Blackhand, this is BikeRushOwnz. BikeRushOwnz versus Masterleaf, and as I said, these are more practice games or scrims than anything else. But I do want to say a thank you to the folks who support me over on Patreon, in especially Oz Media, TheArbiter, Dmitry K, Isaac H, Hendrik B, and Pierce D, as well as a couple of newcomers, Joachim, Jiacheng H, and Fedon C. Sorry about mispronouncing the names, but a big thanks to those folks. I use Patreon like a tip jar, so always appreciative of those folks. Blackhand versus Reaper 17, and Masterleaf versus BikeRushOwnz. Not a match that I was really thinking was going to happen, especially outside of a tournament setting, but we have got multiple games. I don't think this is a formal series where anyone was keeping score. I believe these were just practice games played, maybe even off-stream between these two. BikeRushOwnz coming pretty fresh off of a kind of a series of tournament wins this year, but also just having a good time in the last year and a half or something, performing really well, pretty consistent. And Masterleaf, he's always been a topsy-turvy player. For those of you who are a little bit less aware, there certainly are new viewers coming to Kane's Wrath or competitive Kane's Wrath in the year 2021. These two guys have a long history, going back, at least to 2013 or maybe even 2012. But both of these guys do capture a place in the Kane's Wrath pantheon of being potentials for the greatest of all time. One harvester does go down. This is 4 bikes coming out for BikeRush, and he's not going to lose a single one. Are you kidding? He zooms in there, gets himself a harvester. It looks like he's going to try and take the shields off of a couple of other harvesters. No real damage there, as the shard launcher will have no difficulty in cleaning that up. But a lovely little delay to the economy of Masterleaf. He's even going to be taking a couple of shots at the MCV, doing, 10-20% damage or so before he gets on out of there. But a harvester kill for free. BikeRush is choosing to re-engage here, so he's probably going to be losing one of these bikes. No. He just takes a couple of shots at a power plant and gets on out of there. Photon cannon, maybe? No, nothing gets dropped. Okay, so whatever Masterleaf had queued, he chooses to hold on. It's right into the nerve center. That's before any refinery on the natural expansion. And actually, speaking of natural expansions, we have a war factory. So both players delaying by a significant amount their natural expansion refineries. Part of that is this little aggression that BikeRush pushed out, but also BikeRush, do want to note, is stealing the blue Tiberium from the center. There are 4 shard walkers who could potentially stop that, but they're going to be backing away, and it's a 1-base fast tech. So no refineries at the natural expansion, but the MCV is poised and ready. We got 1 dev tank out by the time Tier 3 is up. So 1-base fast tech versus Blackhand. Both players delaying their expansion. The MCV is still here, and here BikeRush is now going to have a good idea of what he's against. He's going to know about that Tier 3. He's going to have an idea of what Masterleaf is up to, and he jumps a dev tank. He sees the first Mechapede popping on out, and he's going to take a couple of shots at some harvesters, but not really do too much there. Killing that dev tank is nice. I mean, we've seen in some other games somewhat recently, although I think that video will actually come out after this one. Man, if you get a good number of dev tanks all joined together, their focus firing can be just incredibly high DPS. Shards on this mecha, going to be taking some shots at those buggies. And once again, BikeRushOwnz, the spread of attack on his units is, well, finally they all go down there, but it took so long for Masterleaf to actually clean up all of those units. Beam cannons, if they focus fire down the head, they do kill Mechapedes extremely quickly, but in this particular case, the Mechapedes able to jump on the beam cannons and annihilate 2 of them very quick. A couple of disruptor segments on 1 or 2 of these Mechapedes means that once they get up close and personal, they do good damage. Double laser turret going to be getting dropped here, but 3 Mechapedes will be escaping away for the current moment. Their shards cleaning up a couple of Black Hand squads. Meanwhile, on the north side, it's an engineer making a play for the MCV. BikeRushOwnz. He doesn't care and he gets it. Immediate sell, and the MCV, the engineer, is going to be going. Oh, the engineer survives! The buzzers from Masterleaf tried to go for the kill of that MCV, and finally Masterleaf does get the kill on that engineer. A complete disruption here. Masterleaf had a plan, and it was almost working out, and now his economy, which was supposed to be getting set up at that natural expansion, is completely gone. The refinery is in the ground, and BikeRushOwnz pulling out of the woodwork an engineer MCV cap. Not something we see very often. There's the sell-off of the MCV. Unfortunately for Masterleaf, he probably doesn't have a gravity stabilizer. We'll check on that in just a moment. Beam cannons getting divided against these Mechapedes, and beam cannons are just not effective at killing Mechapedes. And as you can see, they're taking down those segments, but they cannot focus fire on the head. I believe you would have to force fire on the head, and the beam cannons are just not getting the job done. Another power plant going to be going down. The beam cannons getting targeted down one after the other, and Masterleaf coming in here, crushing the bikes and the beam cannons of BikeRushOwnz. The one refinery for BikeRushOwnz, and BikeRushOwnz actually takes the L there. The GG gets called. And what a game to kick us off on Twilight City. That is not something you see very often. I mean, sure, Reaper 17 versus Blackhand isn't a common matchup, but that development of that game is, well, okay, that's not something you see particularly often. I thought that was going to just snowball for Bike after he got that first Harvester, but oh man, Masterleaf, the untiltable one in that game. I'm so excited for this series. I have like 3 other tournaments with replays on my hard drive. I've literally already started casting. I'm in the middle of casting a tournament, and I saw these games. I got notified about them, and I jumped on them, and I'm so glad I did. That was a weird game 1, a pretty wild little explosion of action. So let's see what happens in game number 2. And that takes us to Tournament Odyssey. All right, Masterleaf claiming the first win, but in the top right-hand corner, I believe playing Vanilla Nod as the red. This is BikeRushOwnz. I checked the factions, and then I immediately forgot, because that is the level that I am at. Anyways, in the bottom left-hand corner, playing as it, oh, I can't actually check the UI. As a GDI faction, I'll tell you, this is the orange, this is Masterleaf. I believe these guys playing random. Oop, let's see. It's a regular old GDI. So GDI versus Nod. Heyo. And if you're one of those people, technically GDI is orange. So this is actually canonical colors as well. If you play the campaign, this is what you get dealt. So orange versus red. It's not necessarily the most interesting color combo, but you know, it's not like that classic either red versus green or blue versus red. It's like, that's just classic color combo for RTS games. Anyways, what a game for number 1, and as I said, this is a series of games. I think I will be keeping score, but I don't think that this is like a, you know, a best of series where once we get to a certain score, then the series is over. Militant Squad picks up the win, so Bike Rush, I almost said Masterleaf or something, which was like Masterleaf and Bike Rush all at the same time. But Bike Rush is going to be getting the scout. He's going to deny the scout pretty conclusively for Masterleaf. All right, 3 is, are we going to get a 4th Harvester? I think it's a 4th Harvester. So no shenanigans. No shenanigans from BikeRushOwnz. He's got 4 Harvesters. The MCV is on the move. There is going to be the Scouting Pitbull heading on out for Masterleaf. And thus far, I mean, some people would say this is a Nod-favored map, but so far we have got a pretty straightforward, macro-oriented game from these players. 2 bikes and a buggy going to be heading out to take down this pit bull. Perfect pull away of that bike. That's one of those things that I don't do, you know, that many players don't do, but BikeRush did indeed bother to do that, keeping that extra bike alive, cycling it out with just the smallest of micro to keep that bike around for a little bit longer. Anyways, Masterleaf versus BikeRush. I was saying in game number 1 and then things got weird. This is a series, this is a rivalry, a matchup that has featured prominently in competitive Kane's Wrath for, you know, going on 7 or 8 years now. Again, maybe all the way back to 2012, but these two guys facing each other in some classic series, BikeRushOwnz coming into tournaments undefeated, and then the one guy who can stop him is Masterleaf. And that's the history between these two guys, is at times peak rivalry. And in some people's minds, Masterleaf upsetting BikeRush as being the greatest player in competitive Kane's Wrath, and being pretty much the only one at the time who could do it with any consistency. And if you're talking about, you know, some of the best players of all time, you've got Technique in there, you've got BikeRush, Masterleaf, maybe Unleashed is in there as well, but there isn't a lot of players who can knock BikeRush off consistently. Technique was one of those guys. He could get under BikeRush's skin and tilt him. He could throw him from a tournament and knock him out. Masterleaf was also one of those guys. And I say this partially because there are some of you in the comments who talk about how when you see a BikeRush game, you don't necessarily even want to watch it because you feel like it's just over before it even begins. And that's how a lot of people feel playing up against him, but Masterleaf is one of those guys, not so much recently, except game number 1. Masterleaf is one of those guys who historically has been able to do that, but not for the last 18 months. And now we have got a Masterleaf who in game number 1 should have been tilted so hard, but wasn't, who should have just lost that and spiraled, but didn't, and just crushed it. So I am very excited, and these two guys have been playing competitive Kane's Wrath against each other at you know, the highest level for a long time, and they're still doing it here in 2021. Stealth Tank comes on out, it gets spotted immediately. APCs and Pitbulls going to be up against bikes, and it's all at the main base. There's the Tib chemical plant going down, so BikeRushOwnz is going to be looking to potentially nuke one of those refineries in the south. We'll take a look in that direction in just a moment. There's the scout. He gets the refinery. And unfortunately for Masterleaf, he's going to be hurt on that eco just a bit. But he's got a pretty good feel on exactly what BikeRush is doing. Seed Tiberium also coming in for BikeRush. And Masterleaf has an idea of what's going on here as we transition to our third bases for this game. Masterleaf is going to be looking to slow BikeRush down or to draw this game out a little bit until he can get that ultimate end game GDI army. For now, he doesn't have an army that wins the game against the stuff that BikeRush is doing. BikeRush, maybe uncharacteristically, playing so cautious and so careful throughout this first part of the game, happy to wait it out. Lovely kill of that stealth tank there in the south. Meanwhile, in the north, Avatar's closing in from the right side as the little exchange between APCs and Pitbulls goes the way of BikeRush and pushes Masterleaf away. Masterleaf looking to test the waters there and just poke and prod, forcing an obelisk here, forcing the infantry to be out of position there. Meanwhile, Masterleaf taking his third base in the north, the double MCV play, as he actually sells off the MCV in the south. BikeRushOwnz grabbing the expansion hub in the north, dropping his own obelisk here to try and get into this base, and that harvester is going to get targeted down immediately. Tip Vapor Bomb, it looks like, is probably coming in to try and kill off this MCV or do some heavy damage, and Masterleaf is going to have to make the play now. A couple of Pitbull's going to be getting caught by that Vapor Bomb as well. One Harvester going down as the first Sonic Emitter comes up. The first couple of avatars arrive at this location as well. The Marv and the Redeemer both on the way, but it looks like the Redeemer will arrive first mere moments before that Marv. The MCV under extreme duress as Masterleaf is going to have to make his stand. The Marv coming up. The Redeemer is here. Who gets the actual infantry? Inside of it, it looks like Masterleaf is going for one Zone Troopers. The first Juggernaut arrives on the front line, that long-range assault unit that Masterleaf needs to try and hold this position. Perfect focus firing, force firing rather, on the ground from Masterleaf. Now going to be able to annihilate that rocket squad. BikeRushOwnz prepping perhaps one engineer all ready for one of the avatars to fall. The Juggernauts are here, but the Spectres are the answer from BikeRushOwnz. In a 1-to-1 fight, the Spectres tend to lose out. The Juggernaut tends to be the better unit. But with this free damage, BikeRushOwnz might be able to chip away at these Juggernauts, or rather continue chipping away at them as he's already doing. One avatar shows up on the right side for Masterleaf, and he's going to be able to target it down, but the rest of the forces for BikeRushOwnz are not engaging. Loses one more avatar to the range of that Juggernaut, and Masterleaf, maybe on the south side, is rebuilding his MCV somewhere, possibly popping out right now. No, it's more Juggernauts for Masterleaf. He doesn't care about that build queue. He doesn't care about holding this position. He's even got a rig here to repair that Marv on the front line, and he's going to start targeting down the Redeemer as well. No EMP to lock that Redeemer in place and to keep it from running away. Meanwhile, Rage Gen fires off once again. A little bit more success with that Rage Gen as BikeRushOwnz desperately trying to clean up that battle base. He wants to stop that rig from having an effect, and now he's going to try and EMP his way to victory. These are not EMP Raider buggies. These are just regular old Raider buggies. Perhaps he's got that upgrade finishing up in the background, but at the current moment, no EMP on those Raider buggies. Masterleaf parade pushing everything he's got up to this section of the map. Zone Troopers are here. There's the first EMPs landing, and BikeRushOwnz is going to look to crush this Marv to come in and clean it up. The Marv continues to back up. No further EMPs. He was not able to chain those. And the Pitbulls, the Zone Troopers coming forward. Masterleaf trying to sneak around, trying to get the Spectres cut off the artillery of BikeRushOwnz and create an advantage for himself. The Obelisks take a couple of shots, and out of desperation, both players looking for an answer, but BikeRushOwnz has found it in the south of the map. A sneaky expansion coming up. A proper third base will be established. The engineer needs to get inside of that Marv right now. Both engineers heading to the front line. Masterleaf just leaving them queued up for wherever they were originally supposed to be going. And once again, no, actually Masterleaf going for the Avatar. He's going to have one Avatar on his side as the Marv is doomed to die. Goodbye, Marv. The Redeemer stands tall, and it's even going to be taking a couple of shots at this defensive tower. That Avatar is, rather. The Juggernaut's still here on the front line. That Rage Gen doing such a good job of cutting down the forces of Masterleaf. That's one artillery option that BikeRushOwnz has that he has been utilizing. Shredder Turret's taking some shots at the Zone Troopers and cutting them down, stopping them from being effective against the Avatar as the Redeemer marches back to the repairs of that Redeemer engineering facility. And Masterleaf now realizing that his Harvester is joining the Harvesters of BikeRushOwnz. His army falls, and the GG gets called. Masterleaf loses game number 2. BikeRushOwnz evens the score up there on Odyssey. These two guys with an epic long-term rivalry coming in neck and neck on economy for both of that. The third base, the thing that allowed BikeRushOwnz to win. Also sniping that MCV. Masterleaf thinking he needed to sell that first MCV to get the resources, but it ended up he wasn't quite able to hold that position. That will do it for game number 2. Let's see what happens in game number 3. And that takes us to Tournament Highlands. So we got Odyssey, we got Highlands, and as the Steel Talons. That's right, plain purple, this is Masterleaf. And on the other side of the map, plain red as, I think, Vanilla GDI. This is BikeRushOwnz. And it's not, it's a Steel Talons mirror. So, this will be quite interesting. We've got that mirror tournament that just wrapped up or still happening or something. And now we have ourselves a mirror matchup, I believe a random mirror matchup. So, as always, you can argue about what the statistics are. But, you know, we got ourselves a Steel Talons mirror matchup on Highlands. We'll see how this develops. Double Scout in the south for Bike Rush, Double Scout in the north for Masterleaf. Everyone getting their tib spikes and going to be taking a little bit of presence on that blue field for Masterleaf, and looks like he wants to just keep an eye on things. Might end up losing the squad, yeah, as he runs a little bit too close to that building, takes a couple of shots, and is going to back off. Masterleaf splits his scout, so he's only going to use one to get a look in the base. MCV pack up for BikeRushOwnz. Everything is looking normal for both players. BikeRushOwnz wins the scout fight in the south, so his natural expansion is secure for the current moment. MCV packed up and only on one power plant, so that's a low power BikeRushOwnz. He's happy to take that low power hit. In theory, maybe his expansion timing would be a little bit quicker, but it's actually a bit slower. Masterleaf goes for the southern Blue Tiberium field. BikeRushOwnz goes for the northern Blue Tiberium field. And for the current moment, those will be fairly uncontested. BikeRushOwnz manually harvesting from the far side of the field. And there you can see he took a refinery offline for just a moment. And they're both doing the same thing to each other. They've got riflemen next to power plants. It's annoying. Every once in a while it will indeed get a kill. But generally speaking, no, it doesn't get a kill. Even a watchtower going down might be a way to help prevent that. And BikeRushOwnz going to be going for the double pit bull out of the war factory to try and hunt this harvester. He's not going to be able to contend with the Titan, but of course BikeRushOwnz is not. I almost said he wasn't going to get crushed, but those Titan came dangerously close to crushing those pit bulls, and the pit bull does not manage to dive behind the war factory. Masterleaf does manage to escape away with that Tiberium, it looks like. And it looks like Bike Rush was able to do the same thing as well. No Titans crushing his harvester in the north. Watchtower gets sold off. And Masterleaf is actually still working away at that power plant. BikeRushOwnz doing what he can with this extremely weak pit bull. Meanwhile, his natural expansion is getting underway nicely. Everything progressing as one would expect. Harvester going for another. Oh, he was auto-harvesting, but BikeRushOwnz didn't want him to, so that's just lost mining time for BikeRushOwnz. A slight disadvantage there, and the pit bull does get cleaned up. The riflemen get the kill very nicely there. 3 harvesters, 2 refineries on the natural expansion. And I know I mentioned this before, but I'm just glad that you guys are here to enjoy this Kane's Wrath action with me. I mean, this game came out 100 years ago. EA didn't care about it for more than 5 minutes. And yet, there's still people who are willing to get excited about these high-level competitive matches as I am. And I mean, we don't have the same sort of esports scene that the other, you know, the RTSs who have developers who care a little bit more have. We don't have any kind of long-term official support. And yet, we have persisted, us weirdos, the ones who look at all of the RTSs who have, like, proper budgets and proper post-release support, and we're like, no, why would we want that? We want to be abused by our publisher, and then we want to just kind of survive. And there's a particular fun that comes with Command & Conquer that we all dig, and I'm glad that you are here to join me in the enjoyment of this. It's really great that there are so many other people who enjoy this sort of action, and I hope that this series brings you as much joy as it's bringing me. Orca Strikes coming in for both players, and BikeRushOwnz barely gets the catch on that harvester. So Masterleaf missed the Harvester over here by just a smidge, and BikeRushOwnz got the Harvester by just a smidge. Wow, the block with the tech center, trying to body block against these pit bulls. Airfields for both players. Hammerhead's going to actually chase away those pit bulls, and Masterleaf is going to maybe dodge in for another hit against that Harvester. No, he decides to hold off for the current moment. Titan v Titan, but Rocket Squad's Rifleman and the Harvester might break down the difference, although no. 3 more Titans marching to the front line for BikeRushOwnz. 3 Hammerheads as well. BikeRushOwnz perhaps looking to secure this, and the ever-flying Rifleman Scout for Masterleaf. He's just flying that guy all over the map. Masterleaf, the MCV in the middle of the map, and it looks like Masterleaf's Harvester was able to escape with a bit of blue Tiberium. Not a lot, a little less than half for that Harvester. And the Eternal Scout, Masterleaf just continuing to run around with this Ox transport, and it will survive for a moment longer before it finally goes down to that Rifleman. And the first Behemoth is out on the field. It's going to be tangoing with these 2 Titans in the middle of the map, but the Titans will eventually get the better of it if they close the distance. They choose not to, and they just eat it from the range, and the Behemoth will now go down to the Rocket Squads, even the Hammerhead getting a shot in or 2. As APMO actually hasn't finished up for Masterleaf, instead going for a faster tech, getting himself some Mammoth tanks, getting him railguns, and eventually I'm sure he will get that APMO, but not for the current moment. He even gets a Harvester in the north. Masterleaf just coming ahead with a couple of wins here against BikeRushOwnz in this particular match. He gets the faster setup on the contested third base, and actually he gets the first load of green Tiberium. Who gets the Marv out faster, and will it even matter? Mammoth tanks rolling up to the front line as the Orcas come in for another strike again, just barely going to miss the Harvester, as Masterleaf's timing just unfortunate there. The randomness of the timing not lining up for Masterleaf. 3 Mammoths on the front line. BikeRushOwnz has more forces. He's got AP ammo on those watchtowers as well. The Harvester, it looks like, going down, but the Behemoths are now on the front line. A couple of more Mammoth tanks rolling up to the front line for BikeRushOwnz as he's going to try and stake his claim here. He's going to try and crush Masterleaf right here on the front line. Railguns versus railguns, but the numbers are on BikeRush's side. The Behemoths stand strong. Those 2 Titans, which were supposed to cut through the front line and kill the Behemoths, didn't make it to the Behemoths, and now BikeRushOwnz has no artillery to match the Behemoths of Masterleaf. 6 Behemoths marching their way to the front line. A fresh load of blue Tiberium coming in from the north. Masterleaf getting the north, BikeRushOwnz getting the south, as 4 more Mammoth tanks skirting by the southern part of that field and looking for an angle. A sneaky Mammoth in the back door. Masterleaf trying to hunt Harvesters with a Mammoth tank. Are you kidding me? He might actually get it as well. No, he barely doesn't. He gets a couple of shots off with those rockets, but they don't quite land, and the Behemoths will finish off that Mammoth tank. Masterleaf unable to successfully Harvester hunt with those Mammoths. 3 Mammoths pulling away to the south for BikeRushOwnz. The Behemoths continuing to rain down death. Masterleaf getting the kill on that MCV, and he's going to walk his way away from the front line. Happy to draw this out a little bit longer, make it last a moment longer, and just harvest slowly away at this big center green field. Mammoths in the south, but there's 4 Behemoths already poised, ready to go. The AA is too far away. The Orcas are going to come in, but is it going to be enough? 1 Mammoth survives the onslaught and will push forward into the minimum range of the Behemoths, but it's not enough. The Behemoths friendly fire and kill 2 of themselves as the Orcas come in to finish the job, but the tungsten shells delete them from the sky. BikeRushOwnz has been pushed back from the front line, but his production and his economy remains alive for the current moment. The scan goes off. There's an engineer to the front line to potentially recover some of these husks. Masterleaf losing the opportunity to snipe that engineer with that rifleman squad, as he's going to let the engineer pass by him on the front line, and Masterleaf claiming more and more of this cash, trying to fuel his late game, but the Orca's coming for another pass. Again, the AA almost on the edge there, but Masterleaf gets every single Orca with his AA turrets, and just barely not getting the kill on those additional Behemoths. BikeRushOwnz keeping his hopes alive by just a hair's breadth. He is barely still in this fight, and maybe not even in this fight, as this one behemoth gets some lucky shots. Masterleaf extremely low health on a couple of these behemoths, moments away from death and destruction as the AA batteries get cleaned up, and there's so many behemoth husks. Masterleaf trying to recover them. BikeRushOwnz racing to recover them as well. He gets the kill on both engineers. He snipes the engineers and then loses his own engineer as Rocket Squads head to the front line, and BikeRushOwnz poised with an engineer behind that behemoth husk to maybe grab it. The Orcas come in, but a fresh AA battery is ready to go, and the Orcas go down. One more Titan to try and land the killing shot for BikeRushOwnz, but it doesn't happen. GG gets called. BikeRushOwnz evaporating from the front line, and with no Tiberium left to fuel his late game attack, he leaves the game, and Masterleaf takes another win. Both players kind of transitioning into aircraft, but honestly, the ground game was where it was at. Masterleaf, the early move to the middle and the faster tech to behemoths paid off big time. Great play there by Masterleaf. Slow, methodical, careful. Let's move into game number 4. And that takes us to Tournament LA. In the north as the Red Reapers 17. This is BikeRushOwnz. And on the south side of this delightfully sunny cesspool, we have as the purple Masterleaf. Based on games 1, 2, and 3, this may very well be a contender for Series of the Year. We shall see. But tournament finals aren't always the best showcase. Sometimes you get to the tournament finals and it's the matchup you maybe were hoping for, but it's not necessarily the series that you were hoping for. One player just doesn't quite pull it out, and the other player gets the win, but it's maybe less fireworks than you were hoping. And this series, however, I just feel really good about, and it could be that the rest of the games from this point forward are just hot garbage. But currently, this is a fantastic series. I've really been enjoying it, and it's a great showcase of Kane's Wrath in 2021. Harvester comes right out of the gate for BikeRushOwnz, so these descents are going to be a bit of a delay tactic, but they have been seen. Masterleaf knows what's up, and he's not too worried. He's got himself some stock standard GDI, which, by the way, there is a EMP control center in the corner, and a mutant hovel. We'll see if those two things come into play. The EMP control center, 50-50. Mutant hovel has about a 2% chance of coming into play. I would be considerably surprised if it did. Tournament LA, 2 bases, relatively straightforward. Third base, a little bit weird, a little bit tricky. Some players, by the time the third base comes around, the game has gotten into a weird place, and so instead of going, if you're Masterleaf, up and around to this for your third, you end up having like a contested third over here where both players are vying for the same potential third base and ignoring the unused field entirely. Blue Tiberium is being grabbed right off of the bat by BikeRushOwnz. He gets that first little bit of blue Tiberium with his harvester, trying to draw in those riflemen so that the buzzers can get the kill, but very careful control by Masterleaf. Pretty deliberate action in every sense. These descents just up here hanging out. Masterleaf has known about them, and BikeRushOwnz chose not to engage with them because he didn't want to just throw them away. And that's what you'll see a lot of players do regardless, because the descents aren't necessarily like they scale really well with the game. They don't get a bunch of upgrades, and actually as Reaper 17, they get no upgrades at all, so they're not even speedy descents. And I mean, they can work nicely in an army, but they just tend to not be the most effective late-game unit, so you see players throw them away. And BikeRushOwnz is just being careful. He's willing to wait and watch for an opportunity in a moment. A couple of APCs heading in here. Let's take a quick scroll, and it looks like we don't have a command post here, so no AP ammo on the way. A couple of secret tanks in the south going for a little bit of harassment to follow this up. And the first Shard Walker rather, closing the distance on these APCs. An additional photon cannon gets deployed, and both of the secret tanks go down to those watchtowers. BikeRushOwnz going to be catching a rifleman here in the south, and maybe he's going to be able to catch one of these harvesters on the edge of this field as well. But for the current moment, I think Masterleaf is going to expect this and respond. He's going to be able to jump on one harvester. Delayed response from Masterleaf, and BikeRushOwnz can get the kill if he commits. He gets it, and he's even going to get half health off of a second harvester, delaying that mining and forcing it off the line. BikeRushOwnz careful, patient, and Masterleaf, I mean, he had the rifleman squad down there, but I guess he wasn't actually looking in that area. That was just a mindless squad that got cleaned up, and Masterleaf didn't actually see it. Ooh, mine's getting dropped. I believe that's a double mine drop, so a couple of these shard walkers could end up getting cleaned up by it. Masterleaf now into the Orcas. He's got his command post up. No AP ammo researching, though, so it's going to be a while before those APCs get that damage upgrade. Lightning Spike from BikeRushOwnz. I assume this isn't actually a real lightning spike attack. I assume he wants to maintain vision for some kind of other play. All right, gravity stabilizer is tier 3. No, tier 3 isn't about to drop. He's not doing that. He's just maybe actually using this lightning spike to harass in a straight-up fashion. Dev tanks, APCs, and shard launchers all going at it. A couple of reinforcing Predator tanks are going to try and swing things into the favor of Masterleaf, but he calls the retreat, and he's going to back up, possibly trying to bait those units into the mines, but pretty much every single APC goes down. The rig also here for Masterleaf. BikeRushOwnz cleans up the mines with those shard launchers, and the rig keeps this assault alive for a moment longer. Keep seeing little dots move on the minimap, and I keep thinking BikeRushOwnz is coming up with something sneaky and potentially dangerous, but for the current moment, it's actually not anything too crazy going on with that lightning spike. He's getting free damage against the harvesters. He is eventually going to be forcing those harvesters away, and Masterleaf has a real kind of choice because so many of his forces are on the other side of the map. Do you use the Firehawks to bomb out that lightning spike, thus revealing the Firehawks and lessening their effectiveness? And the answer is no. He's going straight for the... He's actually going power plants. He doesn't go for the tier 3. He goes power plants, and the nerve center is what he was trying to do, but he didn't actually get it. He did, however, get the airfield, and the Storm Riders, the attempt at the 4 Storm Rider hit squad doesn't quite work out there. APC's pushing in. The rig reestablishes itself right on the front line, ready to kill this stuff as it steps out of that war factory, and these Predator tanks going to be able to grab a couple of kills, and maybe the dev tank as well. That's really what they want to get the kill on as BikeRushOwnz chases down these Firehawks. They refuel with anti-air missiles to clean up the Storm Riders. No anti-air guns on the deck to help push these away. Just one spawns in as the Watchtower kills off those descents, and the first Reaper tripod is finally on the front line. There's the sell-off of that rig and the retreat from Masterleaf. He needs a better plan. What is this? This harvester, I'm guessing, got auto-routed to the middle of the map, and then the nearest green Tiberium was actually Masterleaf's base because BikeRushOwnz was mined out at that particular moment, so it auto-harvested all the way down there, and Masterleaf is actually kind of just letting it happen. Reaper tripods going to be pushing back this Mammoth tank, even the Storm Rider going to be taking a couple of shots before it gets eliminated by that rocket squad, and goodbye Mammoth tank. BikeRushOwnz maintains this lightning spike, and that's just free bits of damage against any harvesters that try and harvest that field. BikeRushOwnz actually just stole an entire load of Tiberium from Masterleaf, and Masterleaf is struggling to potentially get a third base up and running. There's the sell-off. The refinery and the tier 3 both get sold off very nicely there by BikeRushOwnz, but of course, Masterleaf artfully executing those buildings and forcing BikeRushOwnz into that situation. No AP ammo for this watchtower, no railguns for the Predators or the Mammoth, but there is going to be an Orca Strike forcing these units back, and Masterleaf with the world's most awkward defense against a pretty stingy attack. This is not full-featured. This is not even all together. This is just a bit of an attack that's coming in from somewhere. Reaper Tripod's going to be making their way a little bit to the left. BikeRushOwnz behind this, taking his expansion, attacking and expanding, a common theme that we see amongst the players who are actually good enough to pull that off. And it looks like that's what BikeRushOwnz is going to be doing. Eventually, this lightning spike will get cleaned up. Railguns gets purchased, and Masterleaf, is he making the play for the right-hand side of the map? BikeRushOwnz is expecting him to make the play for the left-hand side of the map. That's why he's got everything there. But Masterleaf's forces are moving to the right. BikeRushOwnz is now in that situation similar to what we saw on Highlands, where he's the one who's actually established at the third base. And actually, this Hammerhead may be getting cleaned up when eventually the Gunwalkers get there. But again, a Hammerhead without AP ammo, it just dies. It cleans up a couple of Descent squads there, and Masterleaf says, I am out of here. The MCB going to be passing by the main base, sees the lightning spike still there, and of course BikeRushOwnz is going to have an idea of what's coming his way. It's almost a base trade, but it's a base trade where Masterleaf is just running with all of his forces to the third base of BikeRushOwnz, and BikeRushOwnz gets to ransack the infrastructure, the tech, and the production of Masterleaf. Masterleaf is going to have nothing over at this third base, and the Stasis Shield locking that army, and that will just about delete Masterleaf's ability to win this game. Maybe he can still pull it out, but delaying that army from killing off this base is a huge win for BikeRushOwnz. Even the Harvesters being utilized as attacking units, or at least body blocks in this moment, is going to allow those Mammoth tanks to get a couple of extra shots off, but this is probably just going to be too many forces for BikeRushOwnz, and Masterleaf has not much left. He's going to make his last stand right here, right now. Triple Portal is still pumping out so many units. The MCV got sold off, and the Mammoth tanks are going to try and crush through this, but what do they do when the reinforcements come in for BikeRushOwnz? BikeRushOwnz still has his tech and his production. He just doesn't have much in terms of economy. The Mammoth tanks pushing forward, the railguns good enough with the help of the Predator tanks to, for the current moment, to push back these descents, and BikeRushOwnz coming close to closing in on this army, but Masterleaf still on the move, still on the run. If he can avoid this army for long enough, he might be able to kill everything that Masterleaf has, but no, the descents closing in from the north, the reinforcements for BikeRushOwnz coming in, the MCV forced to unpack, and this is it, the collapse, the perfect completion of the 360 for Masterleaf, as the MCV is the only thing left, and the Engineer is going for the cap, forcing the sell-off, and Masterleaf will lose the game. 2-2 goes the score. The back and forth continues. BikeRushOwnz with the perfect execution there. Masterleaf with the awkwardness of not being able to get that third base. He had some good ideas, fire-hawking down that tech, delaying BikeRushOwnz from getting out more stuff, but BikeRushOwnz already had the army at that point, so yeah, the production got stopped, the tech got deleted, but it was too late. Masterleaf didn't have the tools to deal with the army straight up. It was just a mess of missing engagements. BikeRushOwnz, the positioning wins him that game. If those armies fight in a different way, maybe Masterleaf takes it, but not. That is not how that game turned out, so let's see what happens in game number 5. This series is being so good to us. And that takes us to the always delightful Atacama Road with its swirling pool in the center. In the north as the cyan, this is Masterleaf. And in the south as the red, this is BikeRushOwnz. Zocom is his faction, and it looks like Masterleaf is regular old Nod. So, a map that we don't necessarily see very much, and a matchup that we don't necessarily see very much. Atacama Road is one of those that I love to look at, and I believe in a previous version there was some problem with this map where it would desync. So I know some people were avoiding it for that reason, but I also feel like it's just one of the newer maps to the scene in general. I guess it's probably been around for a while, but, you know, Twisted Rift or Tournament Highlands and Odyssey feel like they get a lot more attention and they feel like they've been around for a while longer. Possibly not actually true, but Atacama Road has had a recent uprising, shall we say. Nod v Zocom, and these guys have been pretty happy for the most part to play out the first couple of minutes of the game. Pretty stock standard macro-oriented openers, nothing too weird happening with our Nod player. Zocom the exact same way. Masterleaf and BikeRushOwnz both feeling like pretty tip-top shape. I'm sure they themselves would be able to tell you many of the mistakes that they have made, and I mean, certainly some of the things that we've seen are definitely imperfect, but still, they are executing at a very high level and a very entertaining level, certainly. BikeRushOwnz deploys, and of course, the advantage of GDI, those better power plants, so you get that expansion up a smidge faster. More harvesters coming out for Masterleaf. BikeRushOwnz deploying that foxhole in just a very annoying place, but Masterleaf will eventually be able to deal with that. Lots of harvesters coming out for both players. A couple of pit bulls for BikeRushOwnz, but they get spotted by this Raider buggy, and they will be delayed by that Raider buggy. So APC rockets in the south. And okay, so Masterleaf says, well, if I can't get up my refinery because of the awkwardness of this foxhole, I'm just going to get my ops center up, so at the very least, I can upgrade those power plants, and I have one piece of my Tier 3 tech ready to go, or at least the pre-requirement to Tier 3. I think you know what I was saying. Oh, and actually he goes Flame Tank. Well, this is not going to be long-lived. Yikes. Masterleaf, yeah, he can pull something out of this. I don't know what he's going to try and pull out of this, but he's going to try and pull something out of this. At least he gets the refinery down in a good position. The Flame Tank gets the kill on that pit bull, interestingly enough, and these pit bulls are going to tango with these tanks, but honestly, that's fine for Masterleaf. He's happy to make that engagement, engaging with the weakened tank in a way that he doesn't really need to, gets him a kill on that tank, and unfortunately for Masterleaf, he really needs every unit he can muster at this point. Those rockets being engaged right at the edge of their range so carefully by BikeRushOwnz, getting extra shots off against that tank as much as he can, but that Flame Tank, honestly, being a pretty good defensive tool for Masterleaf. He does need to clean up that foxhole, and Masterleaf is finally established on his natural expansion, and he has no Tib Catalyst missile to worry about cleaning up multiple of those. Actually, he's going to force fire the ground. Okay, he gets the clear on most of those mines. You have to be so close to get the clear on those mines with the infantry. But Masterleaf has no Catalyst missile to worry about, so he gets a very tight position of those refineries. And, I mean, that's partially due to the awkwardness of the way he base creeped. Double War Factory pumping out units, and there's actually going to be the scan reveal for BikeRushOwnz. He sees the Flame Tank leaving the base, and he doesn't know for a fact, but he can assume that that is the same Flame Tank. Double Hammerheads, so lots of pits, maybe a couple of APCs, but double Hammerheads is the follow-up for BikeRushOwnz, and it's all tanks. So Orcas and Hammerheads are going to do fantastically against them, but the fact that he went into Hammerheads immediately, okay, AP ammo is 80% of the way done, so he's going to be okay in that sense, and he's already got composite armor done, or ceramic armor, rather, for these Hammerheads, and they're about to get upgraded with AP ammo as well, so they will be ready to take down some tanks. There we go. Now he's finally cooking with that AP ammo. A couple of Venoms show up, but the Venoms are going to take a minute to actually shut down those Hammerheads. I'm not actually sure who has been... Ooh, the Flame Tank gets spotted. BikeRushOwnz says, I see you, and he will get the kill on that Flame Tank. Now, of course, this does reveal the tech choice of BikeRushOwnz, but he's already sold off one of the airfields, and he's already transitioning, and he's got the double MCV play to go for 2 bases sort of at once, but also his Reclamator hub on that 3rd base. So a fast Marv coming out from BikeRushOwnz. He is going to try and take himself a 3rd game victory, and he is poised nicely to do it. Masterleaf, on the other hand, he's going to try and make something out of nothing. He got extremely awkwardly situated with that expansion timing and the shutdown of his operations center. BikeRushOwnz trying to line up a blue tib steal, but it doesn't quite work out. Masterleaf going to be able to see that there are 2 MCVs with the timing of those sonic emitters, if nothing else told him. But Masterleaf also committing pretty hard with these Venoms, and he will lose every single one of them, which means there's not a great defense against these Hammerheads. Nice split there by BikeRushOwnz. He does lose 1 more Hammerhead to those stealth tanks, and the stealths actually take almost no damage at all, but the delay has happened, and there is going to be the double Raider inside of that Marv, and it might actually be quad Raider in this Marv, so you want to have a rig to pack along with this guy. He's actually going to include 1 engineer in that. So he will have some ability to tank damage. Catalyst missile fires off. Vein detonation to help finish off the harvesters and do extra damage. And these stealth tanks are also going to be looking to line up these Hammerheads. They get a volley off, but it's not Tib Core. 1 stealth tank goes down, but he trades it out for 2 Hammerheads, and he's going to get another volley. Nicely done there by Masterleaf. Lines it up perfectly, and he gets the kill there. Good by stealth tank, unless it gets a just correct path. He avoids both! Masterleaf gets the avoid on both of those, but what is his solution to actually win this game? As you can see, BikeRushOwnz just marvisted 40% of that field in a quick moment. Maybe not 40%, but he's marvisted a significant amount of that field. He gets the ops center, he gets the catalyst, or the chemical plant as well. BikeRushOwnz, or Masterleaf, has already used the majority of those 1-clicks that he cares about. And Masterleaf has no long-term plan to shut this Marv down. He's got avatars, but he doesn't have a 3rd base, so his army is going to expire relatively soon, and BikeRushOwnz is ready and full of so much cash that he needs to spend somewhere. He's got his tech center up, and I mean, he doesn't have juggernauts, he doesn't have railguns, but he does have those zone raiders, and he does have the Firehawks, and the Firehawks are going to be what does it for him. Also, a couple of these harvesters could be cycled away to the middle of the map and try and go for... Oh, he's actually going for the split on the buildings, so he force fires the ground, and he gets the splash damage on the war factory and the power plant. Masterleaf going to have a bit of awkwardness and difficulty getting himself re-established, and he may eventually try for this 3rd base on the left side of the map, but BikeRushOwnz has already marvisted the majority of the Tiberium on the right side of the map, and it's up to this contested now 3rd field on the left. There's the scan coming down to try and reveal where that stealth tank is, but it's a little bit outside of the range. EMP coils has been purchased for Masterleaf, and he's going to try and shut down those anti-air options. BikeRushOwnz is going to try and shut down the anti-air for Masterleaf so that his Hammerheads can just reign supreme. There's the split of the Hammerheads, and they don't get the kill on that stealth tank, even without Tib Core. It's putting out some good damage, and the avatars burning through this Conyard. This is the 2nd Conyard, and it's not fast enough for BikeRushOwnz to push away these avatars and even the Scorpion tank with ease with these Hammerheads. So much DPS, but here's a healthy stealth tank to try. He gets 1. Oh, that was a fully heroic Zone Trooper squad as well. BikeRushOwnz going to be focusing down the husks, and he's going to be able to jump on 1 of the stealth tanks, but he's going to lose 2 Hammerheads for it. A 3rd Hammerhead extremely low on health. And where is this Marv? It's finally making its way along the south side of the crater in the middle to get into this action. BikeRushOwnz has been just... Ooh, there's actually going to be a vapor bomb? I'm not sure what he's called in there. I think it's a vapor bomb. Firehawks come in. They get not the tech lab. Barely it does survive. But this entire last couple of minutes from BikeRushOwnz has been all for show. It's been smoke and mirrors. He's got the Hammerheads, and he's got the Marv, but he doesn't really have anything other than that, and I think he spent a lot of this cash getting those Hammerheads up, building, I don't know, 4 or 5 different airfields at this point in the game, and getting those hammerheads and those zone raiders, and he hasn't won the game with them, so now Masterleaf is in this awkward position. He's long-distance harvesting, and he has some kind of ground army, but it's not a really formidable ground army, and he has definitely some big lapses in his coverage of his units. A little bit of Blue Tiberium being stolen by Masterleaf, but ultimately BikeRushOwnz, I think gets the majority of that. BikeRushOwnz cleaning up that Tib spike. I'm not sure exactly what with, but he gets the kill regardless, so that's a good kill for BikeRushOwnz. And really, the real win for BikeRushOwnz is he now has control of this third field, proper harvesting of it. Once again, Masterleaf managing to avoid these sonic emitters. You just basically have to keep the stealth tank moving on a path that does not run like, I guess, parallel, or it doesn't run in a straight line towards or away from the sonic emitter because of the way they shoot. You have to keep running orthogonally from the sonic emitter's line of fire. Masterleaf, he's got a decent amount of infrastructure, but no real economy, no real way to get that cash to him. He's stealing, I think, from every field on the map almost, long-distance harvesting from everywhere, and these harvesters are going to be getting spotted by the pit bulls. The stealth tank doing what he can and avoids another sonic emitter. Masterleaf is happy to do this kind of stuff all day long. If he can keep that stealth tank running around the map, doing bits of damage here and there, even though it doesn't have Tib core, just cleaning up buildings here and there, forcing these stupid sonic emitters to get deployed, wasting BikeRush's money on that. That's one way to try and delay the game. Mine drop. No, it misses. BikeRushOwnz gets the kill on that. The EMP Raider buggy's ready to fire off, but they're going to have to back off, and there's just no ground army left for Masterleaf. He's been trying to play around the edges of this game to find an opportunity, but there's nothing here to stop this ground army. It's APCs, it's pit bulls, it's not particularly formidable, but it is enough to get the kill on the Redeemer Engineering Facility and to seal the deal for BikeRush's win in this game. Masterleaf is going to have to try and pull something out of nothing to take this game. BikeRushOwnz closing in, and Masterleaf has been defeated. An Orca Strike, I think, getting called in there as well. And Masterleaf, for the first time in this series, taking a point lead. Again, maybe that doesn't actually matter because they were playing whatever number of games anyways, but in this particular case, Masterleaf has been leading the score, and BikeRushOwnz finally takes it. And it all started with that disruption early on, that MCV getting displaced, the operations center being the imperfect choice, the flame tank not doing anything. It did okay in the defense, but not in the offense. And that will do it for game number 5. Let's continue this action and continue this series. And that takes us to Tiki Turmoil for game number 6. Maybe we'll look at the Nightmare Walrus Man together. Some of you may not know what I mean. In the north, it looks like as the nod, plain red, this is BikeRushOwnz. And in the south, I believe plain yellow? Yes, plain black hand. This is Masterleaf. Okay. Keeps the barracks. What do you have planned, Masterleaf? Tib Spike is going to be grabbed by both players. Keep in mind, you got this blue Tiberium. It's close, but it also has this little ridge around it, which is quite an interesting little design feature. A lot of times you don't have these tight of spaces on Kane's Wrath maps. They're generally a lot more open, and this is one of those maps that is still pretty open, but it's close to being, you know, a little bit more separated. There's the Nightmare Walrus Man, looking delightful in UHD resolution. Buggy is going to head out. BikeRushOwnz is going to get an idea of what Masterleaf is doing. Okay, BikeRushOwnz, what do you have planned for us? 3 or 4? Okay, second refinery comes down, so it's not anything too wild. It looks like it's going to be a harvester after that. Okay, so the build for BikeRush, Buggy, 3 bikes, and this is just a little bit of a potential for harvester killing. You're probably not going to get a harvester, but you might. You just might. 4 bikes, 5 bikes, you've got a much better chance of getting the harvester kill, but your opponent is probably also going to play a little bit tighter to save those harvesters, and it's going to cost you more bikes. In this case, BikeRushOwnz pulls back around to the north side. Masterleaf sold off the barracks, and then he had to rebuild it. Perhaps a bit of a mistake there from Masterleaf coming out here in game number 6. BikeRushOwnz perhaps upsetting the balance of this series. All right, Harvester is out, and the Harvesters continue for Bike Rush, so that's good to see. He's not doing some kind of weird fake out where you go 2 refineries and then you actually MCV sell after a second war factory in your main. BikeRushOwnz is looking to play this one out a little bit longer, and he's looking to just keep a bit of an edge with these active units on the map, forcing Masterleaf to delay his expansion a little bit, hopefully forcing Masterleaf to have to run Harvesters around a little bit, and maybe even just delay his... Okay, there's a second War Factory going down in the main for Masterleaf, and it's actually going to be a Shredder turret to take some shots at these bikes, but there's the sell-off for the Cabal squad. The bikes of Masterleaf going to be... well, getting destroyed there, but the bikes of Bike Rush also going to be leaving, and Masterleaf now has an idea of what Bike Rush is doing. Masterleaf moves his MCV. Is he going to be going for some kind of shared position on that natural expansion and third field? I don't know. It's going to be bikes and a couple of Scorps. Double War Factory continuing to churn. He's got 5 Harvesters fueling this production, the Tib Spike as well. And where is the MCV going? No, it's just going to deploy on the north side of the map. And he's going to try and put the pressure on. He's going to try and cut down the natural expansion of BikeRushOwnz. But the attacks are being divided a little bit here. Masterleaf trying to deal with the rocket squads and at the same time target down the Harvesters. But the defense of Bike is good enough to push back Masterleaf for now. And the attack has stopped. So this was kind of an awkward decision here for Masterleaf. He dumped a decent amount of cash into making this attack happen, but he hasn't really gotten much for it. He maybe upset Bike Rush a little bit, but Bike Rush hasn't even dropped his second refinery on the natural expansion, so perhaps the delay is that BikeRushOwnz is just spending so much cash on this defense that he's going to swing across to the other side of the map and do some damage against Masterleaf. Bikes coming down from the north. The Harvesters are going to have to be pulled. They're going to have to do-si-do around the refinery. And no, BikeRushOwnz just says, I'm out of here. He's not looking to trade 1 for 1. He doesn't want to try and dive on the Harvesters. He's happy to escape for the current moment. Blue Tiberium's starting to grow up. In this point, it would probably be like 1 or 2 Harvesters worth of Blue Tiberium. Second refinery gets deployed at the natural expansion for BikeRushOwnz, and second refinery coming up relatively soon for Masterleaf. Trying to recover, trying to stabilize, an awkward opening in 2 games in a row for Masterleaf, and that is definitely unfortunate. Against someone like Bike Rush, you want to be playing at the tip-top of your game, and BikeRushOwnz feels like, though he's also been slightly unfooted, he's been knocked off balance maybe 2%, and Masterleaf has been knocked off balance like 15%. So I think BikeRushOwnz is going to be feeling a lot more confident at this point in this game than Masterleaf is. Radar jamming missile fires off. Little bit of lag introduced to the game with that effect, and Masterleaf deploys his second refinery there finally on his natural expansion as BikeRushOwnz gets a kill, and it looks like on a pretty full Harvester as well. A whole bunch of these are just holograms as BikeRushOwnz collapses in on this Harvester from the north, from the south. He's going to get another Harvester kill as he barely gets it. And that's 2 Harvesters down. Masterleaf with the later eco on the natural expansion, and now he's missing 2 Harvesters from his group. BikeRushOwnz powering down this laser turret, but he's got it ready and waiting. Perhaps at a moment's notice, he is playing this out reasonably cautiously, but he's keeping up some of the aggression. Tier 3 is finally down for BikeRushOwnz, and maybe a chemical plant as well. Yep, there we go, the chemical plant up and running. And I assume, yep, okay, there is One refinery down. The Harvester is heavily damaged, and BikeRushOwnz is going to swing in. There's going to be the hologram repeat from Masterleaf and from BikeRushOwnz. BikeRushOwnz is going to dive. He's going to get the Harvester. It barely gets exploded there as he calls in the one clicks to try and finish off what remains. And Masterleaf survives with 3 Harvesters and 1 hologram in the north. Masterleaf does barely survive that with a workable economy, but he is far behind, and he knows it. He feels it in his bones that he has to make something happen in the next couple of minutes. He needs to cut down BikeRushOwnz. Maybe that means killing off a potential third from BikeRush, and maybe that means something like getting an easy kill on a Redeemer engineering facility or something. I don't know. A flame tank is a great way to start. 3 flame tanks down the right side of the map. He's going to burn down a refinery, maybe even some power plants as well. But if he could get the tier 3, that would be money. A huge reset of the tech there. But no, Masterleaf gets the refinery, and that is just about it. He's still firing the ground. Something going terribly wrong with that flame tank. That third flame tank. Oh man, if he had been able to get that tier 3, it would have reset that Redeemer, would have denied that from BikeRushOwnz. 2 more flame tanks from Masterleaf sneaking out to the left side of the map, but BikeRushOwnz has seen it. He is stomping his way over there, and he's going to shut down that attack. Blue Tiberium getting gobbled up by BikeRushOwnz, and he reestablishes that refinery there at his natural expansion. And unfortunately for Masterleaf, no tier 3, no chemical plant, no ability to click down those refineries to try and even the score. I mean, maybe if he had been able to kill off one refinery and click the other one, that would have been enough of a reset, enough of a slowdown that even though BikeRushOwnz already has the more powerful army, he would be hesitant to use it. But now BikeRushOwnz, the longer this game goes on, the further he gets ahead and barely doesn't get that Harvester. Most of the time that BikeRushOwnz shows up to something like this, he barely does get the Harvester, and you're like, oh, come on. How lucky is that, like, the quarter of a second that you needed, you actually got to get out the last shot before your unit exploded. And BikeRushOwnz, oftentimes those timings work out just barely in his favor like that. But in this particular case, it worked out nicely in Masterleaf's favor. All right, Masterleaf is poised to take a third. And again, if he could delay this army, if he could keep BikeRush from attacking, he would have a chance, because if he got a third up, he would actually have the ability to... Is that an intentional thing or a mistake? I'm not actually sure. All right, Masterleaf is going to try and hold the line with infantry, the body block of the barracks, but no production as he gets a shredder turret to follow that up. And there's going to be the EMP zone coming in. Rage Gen fires off, and Masterleaf with EMP Raider buggies coming in. He's not going to be able to kill off that Redeemer. If he... Oh, the MCV gets sniped. The EMP is perfect. And Masterleaf, with nothing left, will crumble. The flame tank doing what it can, but ultimately it's not enough to stop this army. BikeRushOwnz crushing through here in game number 6, and Masterleaf actually holding surprisingly well. He's not holding here, not what we're seeing on screen. I mean, thematically in this game, he did a pretty good job of holding this situation despite the position he was fighting from. Masterleaf nearly mounting something, but ultimately the army of BikeRushOwnz was too present on the map, and it came for the kill. BikeRushOwnz takes another win in this series, and Masterleaf fighting back, keeping himself in the game, but that was just the slow bleed out. Ultimately, yep, the economy tells the tale of that game. BikeRushOwnz just with significantly more cash over the course of that game. Extra 1,200 credits a minute, but of course the majority of that being the last 5 minutes of the game. And that will do it for this game. We have another match to get to between these two. And that takes us to Tournament Airstrip as we have game number 7. A little bit more breakup on this map than something like Tournament Galaxy, but a pretty straightforward map regardless. On the right side as the Cyan, this is Masterleaf. And on the left side, as the red, this is BikeRushOwnz. And what is it going to be? It's a Zocom mirror to finish things out. We had ourselves a Steel Talons mirror earlier. We saw Zocom in some different setups, but now we get a proper Zocom mirror, and oh no! The contested spike goes nicely to BikeRushOwnz. What are you doing, Masterleaf? What are you doing? He was gonna try and make it to the foxhole. That was too close for comfort. Masterleaf going for the contested spike in the middle, but he's not going to get it. BikeRushOwnz getting the drop on the forces of Masterleaf just barely. And Masterleaf was going to try and dive on the engineer, but that didn't work either. So BikeRushOwnz certainly with the mentality win in the first couple of minutes of this game. Already the advantage shifts to his favor, literally with the tib spike, and also in the metagame between these two in the mentality of this matchup. Very small third fields on this map, something to keep in mind. There really isn't an expansion that you like walk to. It's almost just a long distance harvest kind of expansion. And this whole fiasco, oh wow. That bad? The APC delayed it by that much? Wow, this, something really terribly went wrong for Masterleaf. BikeRushOwnz is already leaving for his expansion. Okay, he's going for the MCV cap. It's not going to work, but he's going to try anyways. He's going to drop it off on the opposite side of the watchtower. No, it looks like he's just going to hold the engineer for a moment longer. And Masterleaf is going to lose the APC, the engineer as well. This super-duper delayed his second refinery. His economy is extremely weak by comparison, and he's just going to try and run somewhere with this engineer, and Masterleaf is not going to escape. The rifleman gets the kill, the engineer falls, and BikeRushOwnz is going to have a comfy lead in this game. Very comfortable space between BikeRushOwnz and Masterleaf in this particular match on Tournament Airstrip. Not a lot of defense against these pit bulls. He does have a watchtower, though, and most likely a pit bull popping out for Masterleaf. Masterleaf, on the other hand, transitioning one harvester down to the south, and BikeRushOwnz, he's playing this out cautious. The respect is there. It was actually another harvester popping on out of that war factory, and BikeRushOwnz is going to go for it. He can jump on this harvester. It's going to have to juke around the building, and he may lose a couple of pit bulls for it, but he's going to get the harvester one way or the other. The pit bulls coming now out for Masterleaf, and the watchtower as well. BikeRushOwnz may lose every single pit bull for this attack, and it may be worth it in his mind. 3 of the pit bulls explode, and the 4th one is ready to die. Masterleaf getting unseated even more in this series, in this game. Just the mental domination that BikeRush is getting in these moments. It's not always about the cost effectiveness of whether or not 4 pit bulls is worth the economy of killing 1 harvester, or these 2 riflemen if they're actually doing anything. All of these extra watchtowers, all of this delay and this fluster to Masterleaf is just miles and miles of distance between Masterleaf and BikeRush in this game. Command post comes up. AP ammo gets started. And BikeRushOwnz continues to pump. Okay, maybe not forever. Scan comes down, reveals the airfield. Perfect timing there for Masterleaf. He knows exactly what is up. He also does get to see the health of BikeRush's economy. 2 refineries, 5 harvesters on that natural expansion. And he may even see the first Orca coming in. As more and more pit bulls get produced by BikeRushOwnz, they are going to be met by hammerheads, or by rocket squads, excuse me, from Masterleaf. And Masterleaf even trying to get out on the field, trying to put a bit of damage on those Orcas to maybe deny one of them. Ooh, nice mine drop by Masterleaf, going to be pushing away those pit bulls. And Masterleaf's own pit bulls there in the middle of the map, looking for a bit of an angle, looking for trying to, find a loose unit or something. I assume BikeRushOwnz just harvested away some of this field. I don't see where it went, but he's probably got it somewhere. Zone Shatterer is out on the field, and where are the Orcas? They're still on the deck. They don't have ceramic armor just yet. This isn't 1.03, so they don't have ceramic armor and hard points to potentially get. APMO is finished up, and Masterleaf is finally cleared out that center of the map, that position that started this game off with so much difficulty for him. And it looks like the Pitbulls are going to be heading for these unprotected harvesters in the north. Masterleaf is feeling desperate. He's got AP ammo, he's got Tib field suits, and he's going to put the pressure directly on this MC. But BikeRushOwnz is happy to wait this one out. BikeRushOwnz is happy to turn this into a war of attrition. From this point, he's happy to bleed out Masterleaf slowly but surely. 2 harvesters going down at the natural expansion of Masterleaf. Another harvester getting eliminated at the main base of Masterleaf. No, it survives. It barely makes it. And Masterleaf has got that going for him, but virtually nothing else as the refinery on the 3rd field gets deployed. BikeRushOwnz. I mean, Masterleaf is matching the timing of the 3rd, but of course, just look at the sheer amount of Tiberium that has been claimed by BikeRushOwnz. Masterleaf hasn't even finished this green Tiberium field. That's probably 2, maybe 3 more loads of Tiberium of cash that BikeRushOwnz has that Masterleaf doesn't. BikeRushOwnz still has the tip spike in the middle as well. Masterleaf didn't clean that up. He's going to push forward. He's got APCs. He's got rocket squads, but the APCs are going for the buildings, and the rocket squads are going for the riflemen, which is not quite what you want. Sniper team's also making this a little bit more difficult for Masterleaf. Orcas coming in here for Masterleaf to get some shots off here. Somewhat strangely, was that actually a Masterleaf Orca? I think I might have been misseeing the colors there. As the sniper teams help to clean things up, and the hammerheads are going to follow up to kill off the reinforcements or the retreating forces as they back away from the front line. And BikeRushOwnz from this point forward, it looks like, is happy to just push solidly across the map, essentially just parading over to Masterleaf's side. And Masterleaf does indeed have Orcas, so my eyes did not deceive me. BikeRushOwnz has more Orcas, and BikeRushOwnz Orcas are actually doing more stuff. Masterleaf just having some real difficulty. His airfield gets shut down. The Marv is out on the field. And this could even be a superpower Marv or a well-balanced Marv. Either one is going to be happy for BikeRushOwnz. There's the scan. Ooh, combat support airfield. Not something you see very often, but a good option. It's cheaper than rebuilding your airfield, and if you've already got the air units, you might as well get it. It's going to be a well-balanced Marv. 2 Zone Raiders, 2 Engineers, a classic way to build out your Marv. And Masterleaf has actually established a 3rd base. He does not have a natural, or he doesn't have a main base, really. It looks like BikeRushOwnz was able to get that last bit of blue Tiberium from the middle of the map. We have EMP grenades. Okay, so Masterleaf is going to try and make the play. He reveals his Grenadier, which is a bit of a mistake there, just giving it away, and the Harvester's taking so much splash damage. Almost 3 Harvesters eliminated in a matter of moments. The 3rd does eventually go down, and Masterleaf is going to try and hold the line, but where are the grenades? Well, the Shockwave Artillery is coming in. The EMP is going to land for BikeRushOwnz, and he's going to shut down this production. He's going to camp this location, and BikeRushOwnz is not going to give Masterleaf an inch as the Marv moves in to literally Marvist away the opportunity for Masterleaf to stay in this game. Crushing through the front line. Supersonic airstrike comes in just as the GG move from BikeRushOwnz. Masterleaf has been defeated, and BikeRushOwnz takes the last game in this series. Snowball from the beginning. Masterleaf doing an admirable job of nearly clawing his way back into that game, and if BikeRushOwnz hadn't been quite on point, if Masterleaf had found a way, I don't know how, but if he had somehow found a way to sneak in some damage against Harvesters or slow BikeRush down a little bit, Masterleaf could have actually clawed his way back into the game, but oh boy, That last game, 46,000 credits of difference between these two players, and that's the glue between them that in this case divided them greatly, but it stuck the answer clearly to BikeRushOwnz as to who was going to win that. What a great metaphor that was. No one can complain about that. That'll do it for this game, for this series, for this video. Thank you all very much for watching. What an exciting series. I take back my statement about, like, best series of the year, but still a great set of 7 games from these two players, and a very exciting show match between them. That will do it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is Sybert signing out.